So we've reached that time of the year when I'd much rather be out in my garden all day, every day. I want to be planting more. I want to fertilize what I have in there. I want to be adjusting those little babies and make sure that they're happy and everybody is set to grow and give me all kinds of food to preserve later this year. However, I still have some food from last year and some other food that I've picked up here in the past week or so that need to be preserved today. So we're going to be at the kitchen. I'm going to bring you with me. I have some of last year's tomatoes to preserve. These are mostly slicer tomatoes, although I did find a bag of Romas in the freezer that I did not know was there because my freezer was so packed. But I have those, so I'm going to turn those into crushed tomatoes. I don't specifically need any tomato products right now, but crushed tomatoes get used all the time, so I may as well get a jump start on next year's batch. So I'm going to do that. I was in Kroger the other day, really honestly walking around looking at prices going, oh, how can people afford to spend this much money on stuff, right? But I happened upon a sale on some sausage that I like. They didn't have the varieties that I like, but I can fix that. So I desperately need to can some more ground sausage. So I'm going to be doing that today as well. And then the other thing is I picked up more eggs than I needed at Costco the other day. We just haven't been going through them as quickly as I thought we would. So I am going to get freeze drying some of those. So that's what I have going on today. I hope you enjoy it. There's no lessons in here, no tutorial on anything. You've seen me do all of this. You've seen me do crushed tomatoes. I think you've seen me do ground sausage as well. But if you haven't, stick around. I won't go into a great deal of detail, but it's so simple. You just watch me. You can't mess it up. So that's what we're doing. Welcome to Grow and Preserve. I'm Carter. I'm so glad you're here today. So let's get started on this day of preservation. Okay, so I'm hoping you can see I have a bunch of bags of tomatoes that have been in my freezer since last summer. So today we're going to take care of those. The skins are going to slip right off. And in fact, I'm going to get a separate bowl to collect the skins, because if I have any freeze dryer trays left after I put the eggs on there, I'm going to freeze dry the skins of the tomatoes as well. I'll turn those into tomato powder. I have a batch started, so I will keep going on that. All right, so, whoops, didn't mean to do that. All right, there's a skin. You can see how easily that came off. I'm just going to do crushed tomatoes, so these are going straight in the pan. I'll crush them up with my meat masher once I get everything in there. Stop dropping them back in the bag. I do add lemon juice to mine. If you don't like lemon juice in yours, you can add citric acid. I know a lot of people have never added lemon juice to their tomatoes, but you know, I like to grow tomatoes that are slightly less acidic, more on the sweet side, so I'm more comfortable adding lemon juice to mine. Okay, that's just a bunch of tomato juice left there. I think what I might do is go ahead and put that in at the end, depending how much I have. And then I may just can some jars of that. Okay, these are the Roma tomatoes from last year. Shouldn't be quite as juicy, which will be nice. Purple Rain tomatoes. I'm not growing any of these this year. We had so many last year. This is It's the fastest, easiest way to prepare tomatoes for canning, I think. Okay, I have the Dutch oven filled up. This is 6 quarts, and I'm a little shy of that. So I'm hoping for maybe 10 pints out of this. We'll see how much I let it cook down. So I just want to actually just crush the tomatoes. I don't want them too tiny. I don't want to turn this into more of a sauce. I really, when I use them for cooking, I still want to know that they are fresh tomatoes from the garden, right? All right. Okay, I'm going to let this come up to a gentle boil and let it go for about 5 minutes or so. Meanwhile, I'm running behind on getting my canner set up, and my jar is heated, so let's get going on that. I'm going to need some filler jars in there because that's not going to be full enough to keep them from tipping over. So I'm just going to pull out some wide mouth pints to take up some room. I have 12 jars in there heating up. We'll see how many I need. Alright, we had a new whole house water filter put in, so in theory I should no longer have to add the vinegar, but I'm going to add it just in case. Alright, so I added 1 bag of the tomato juices that were left. It's a bag that I think a couple of tomatoes had kind of spilled some pulp into it, so it seems to be a good mix, and that's what I'm going to use. Tomatoes, if you've never done crushed tomatoes before or diced tomatoes or anything like that, they go into the jar looking absolutely beautiful, and they come out and there's been some floating going on in there. And you're like, oh no, what did I do wrong? It doesn't look pretty anymore. You can shake it and it'll kind of remix itself. But basically, by cooking them, I'm going to reduce some of that float. Now I'll still have some, you'll see, but I'm going to reduce some of that. Okay, this guy is heating up. All right, I'm going to grab my lemon juice, my lids to get those washed up, get my jar lifters, all that kind of good stuff. I'll be right back. All right, my tomatoes are looking great. My jars are heated, so I'm going to start bring in a couple of jars out, get some lemon juice in them, and then we'll start filling them up. So if you're new to tomato canning, this is such an easy project. And you will probably find, like I do, that I use crushed tomatoes all the time. I used to do diced tomatoes, but boy, that's a process. And especially since with diced tomatoes, you can't freeze your tomatoes first. They need to be fresh. So this is so much easier. So if you're just starting out, I would urge you to consider just doing some crushed tomatoes first. All right, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of lemon juice to each jar. That's a pint. If you're doing quarts, you add 2 tablespoons. You can add salt or not add salt. I am not going to add salt because I never know what I'm going to do with these, and if I've got something with a lot of spice in it, I may not need any salt. Okay, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice in each. Little hot jars. I find the easiest way to get tomatoes, or most anything, really into, I'm going to turn this off so it doesn't boil over on me, into the jars is with a measuring cup. Now I'm going for mostly solids, so I'm going to try to strain off some of the liquid here. I want a 1/2 inch headspace. Let's see. Okay. Like I said, if there is remaining tomato liquid in here, I will probably can it as tomato juice. A lot of folks will can it and use it like to cook their rice in or something like that. If I'm going to do rice, I want plain rice, but lots of people enjoy that. Another way to use the canned tomato juice is when making gazpacho this summer. It's really tasty. So we'll do some of that. Help me remember, we'll do some of that when the cucumbers start coming in. Okay, we'll do a quick deep bubble. All of these are so liquidy. Spoon and get a little bit of that one out, moved over. This one's a little full. That one's even a little full right now. I like to make sure they have plenty of room. So you know, tomato products, they can fight back. All right, let's wipe the rims. I see how much was on there and you didn't even see it. So I always am careful to wipe my rims really well, even if I think I did a perfect job, which we all know never happens to me anyway. All right, let's get lids and rings on this batch, get them into the canner, and we'll go it again. if you're new to canning, just fingertip tight, and then just a little bit more. Spin it till it stops. Just a little bit more. Okay, these can go in. They do look beautiful with the different colors of heirloom tomatoes, don't they? Lovely. When we get down to the point where it's just really juice remaining, and I'm going to can it as juice, I'm going to strain out those seeds so that we'll have a beautiful juice. All right, lemon juice first. I always do my lemon juice first because otherwise I will forget. All right. All right, what I'm going to do now is strain some juice into this one. I don't know where my little one is that sits on top, so we're just going to use the big one. And be careful. It's actually a little too much. I'll go for a 1/2 inch headspace on this one as well. Remember, I already had the lemon juice in there. I'm going to can it the same amount of time as I'm doing my crushed tomatoes. I have probably 2 or 3 more jars of beautiful tomato juice. Oops, I'm going to want those. All right, that is perfect. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, okay. Okay, so I'm going to crank the canner up. And when there's steam flying out of the canner, that's when I'm going to start my timer, 35 minutes. And then when the 35 minutes is up, I'll turn the burner off, take the lid off, and let them sit in there for another 5 minutes. So I'm going to get cleaned up, and then we're going to start project number 2, which I'm really excited about. On to the next project. This is also a restocking project, as you will see. I was walking through Kroger the other day, really kind of just stunned at the prices. So I thought, well, I'm just going to keep going and see what everything is these days. It's crazy to me how much the prices have gone up. So I came across a deal that was actually, felt like a deal now. So I found sausage. It was, I think it was on sale for $3.49, which used to be full price, but lately it's been $4.99, and I didn't want to buy it like that. So this is the sausage I like. It is Spaghetti's all natural, but they didn't have the hot version and they didn't have the Italian version. I usually buy half and half of those and mix them together and call it hot Italian. So I'm going to add my own seasonings to this, and then we're going to get it canned up. This is one of my most useful ready-to-go meats that I have in the pantry. I can make a frittata in like no time at all. This and a jar of hash browns and some eggs, maybe a little bit of cheese or a little bit of whatever kind of vegetable I want, some peppers and onions. That's good to go. I can make spaghetti, I can make lasagna, I can do all kinds of things with this. I can make like the Italian Tuscan soup with the kale and the potato and the sausage. Anyway, it's just delicious. So I'm going to make some more because I'm running low. And as I said, I'm going to season this myself. So it may not be exactly like the ones I already have on the shelf, but it really doesn't matter. I'm just going to put some red pepper flakes. And I'm probably just going to use oregano and fennel. Yeah, probably just oregano and fennel in this. My Italian seasoning mix has sage in it. And sage, as you may or may not know, can sometimes get a little metallic-y after processing. So I had intended to tried to buy actually 7 containers of this, and these are a pound. Yeah, these are a pound. I tried to buy 7 so I'd have 8 jars because I find I get just under a pound per jar. But I got to the cash register and one of them had sausage oozing out the side. So I decided to pass on that one. So I have 6 now. So I'm going to get those into the pan quickly, and then we'll get some seasonings mixed in. these get started a bit. The water bath canner is just starting to let off some steam, so we'll keep an eye on that. As soon as it's really blowing, I'll start the timer for 35 minutes. One more. So this is a pressure canning recipe. Obviously, I'm going to can mine in pints, process it for 75 minutes, and I'm using the Presto electric canner for this. All right, get rid of my garbage. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get some hot pepper flakes in here. I think that's good. Remember, that is, what did I tell you, 6 pounds of sausage? I think it's 6 pounds of sausage. Okay, and some oregano. And I think I'm going to go for a little bit of garlic powder as well. This was the mild sausage that they had. All right, that ought to do it. This is about ready to set a timer. I don't know if you can see the steam coming out of that, but I'm going to go ahead and set my timer 35 minutes. Okay, that's going. Let's get back to this. Sausage is so cold, it's a little hard to squish down. And when I'm preparing my sausage to can it, I like to get it to just browned. When I go to eat it, I like it a little crispy on the edges, but when I'm going to can it, since it's going to be processed for 75 minutes, all right, the sausage is coming along fine. Canner is still working on the tomatoes. Let's go ahead and get one of our freeze drying projects started. These are the skins that I just pulled off the tomatoes. I'm going to freeze dry these, and I have another whole bag of them that I found in the freezer. Not all defrosted in there, but they were just one big clump. So I think I'm going to be a little less delicate with these and just put them on the tray. See how many I can get on. I've got 2 trays that I can give to tomatoes. I'm going to do 3 trays of eggs. I haven't done eggs before, so we'll see how that goes. I'm going to stick these in the freezer to pre-freeze. Okay. That looks good to me, yes? And let's see what I can do here. This bag has a hole in it. Not what I wanted to happen, but let's see. These are all Roma skins, so they're a little more uniform. I'm going to try to get all of them on there. My freezer needs to be reorganized again. I had it in better shape, and then I ordered something that I'll show you when we go out there to load the eggs. And everything had to be kind of moved around a bit. But I've got some bigger bins that are going to free up here from another project I'm doing. So I think I'll end up doing a bigger, more substantial, hopefully longer lasting reorganization on my freezer here before preservation season kicks in. These are still pretty frozen here in the center. So I'm doing these with eggs. I know the eggs take a long time to freeze dry. I am going to pre-freeze them, but I figured that these chunks in here will be okay. But what do I know? I haven't done eggs before. We'll see. Okay. Yay! Alright, I'm going to go stick these in the freezer. Actually, I'm going to stir my sausage first. I'm going to cook the sausage all the way through. I don't want to overcook it till it gets crispy, but I am going to cook it all the way through because I'm going to want to taste it before I put it in the jar. I have a feeling I'm probably light on seasoning, so we'll take care of that when it gets cooked enough to taste. Not now. All right, I'm going to run these out to the freezer. Carefully. All right, our canning timer is on 12 minutes. Sausage is still browning, so we're gonna go ahead and get to work on my last freeze drying project, my last preservation project of the day, hooray. I'm gonna freeze dry some eggs. So I have the medium freeze dryer. I've just used 2 trays for the tomato skins, so I have 3 trays left. I guess I have the medium pro, so there are 5 trays in mine. So I'm gonna use a dozen eggs on each of those 3 trays, so we'll get 3 dozen eggs freeze dried today. I have not done this before, so if you see mistakes, go ahead and point them out, but I probably will have figured out I made a mistake by then. I've seen some real horror stories of people doing eggs and they just like explode in the machine, basically. That worries me to no end. It's recoverable, you can clean it up, I just don't want to. So I'm gonna do the best I can. I'm going to pre-freeze these, as I said. Whoops, I'm going to make a mess. If I can get the shells, keep the shells out of the eggs, it's a win. So normally if I were just making eggs for breakfast, I'd put them right in the loamy and get them done that way. But I'm gonna have so many, I'll have 36 eggshells after this. I'm just gonna put them in the garden compost bin. And they'll be ready to help out the garden next year. Still a piece of shell go in there. Got it. All right, let me stir this. All right, the sausage is getting closer. Let's get these blended up. Now what I understand people to say, and I could clearly be wrong, is that you just want to barely blend these so that they don't get foamy. So that is what I'm going to attempt to do. And then we'll go outside and I'll show you the nifty new find I have for my freezer. What in the world? Okay. I'm going to put it on low. I think that's it. I think that's it. All right, I'm gonna move you outside so you're there when I get there and I can show you what I've got going. All right, are you ready? We are in my garage with my big freezer. I have 12 eggs. You can see there's a little bit of foam on top, but I hope we'll be okay. All right, let me show you what I did. I cannot take credit for this stroke of genius. This is all Darcy from Purposeful Pantry. She ordered an additional, what do you call it, a rack, a freezer rack, tray, a shelf, whatever you call that. She ordered an extra one and uses it for whatever she uses it for, I don't know, but this is what I'm using it for. So now, my trays are already in there, they're cold. I can just pour the eggs on, not have to worry about spilling. Make sure it went all the way back. There we go. Okay, slide that back in and it'll freeze just like that. I'm gonna do the next two. And here are my tomato skins right up here. So those will freeze and then they'll be ready to load in the freeze dryer. So thank you, Darcy, for that brilliant suggestion. Now I had to search high and low for mine. I have a Hisense freezer. I think I got it from Lowe's. Lowe's doesn't carry this particular one anymore, so it took a lot of Google searching, lots of dead ends, quite frankly, before I found one that actually led to somebody who had the shelf. And then I ordered, oops, there's a fly. I ordered what I thought, or what it said, the freezer shelf, and what came was another one of these door shelves. So I had to send those back and get these, but anyway, everything is finally here, and I hope that this is going to be great for freeze drying. Okay, we're going to do another batch of eggs. We're going to get the sausage wrapped up and hopefully get the tomatoes out of the canner. The timer for the canner has just gone off. So I'm going to turn the heat off on that, and I'm going to find my pot holder so I can take the lid off. And then I'm going to let those sit for 5 minutes before I take them out. So I'm going to set the timer again just so I don't forget. My sausage is almost done. Okay, 5 minutes there. Try to get one more round of eggs in. Looks pretty mixed to me. All right, I'm going to run these out, and then we'll take care of the tomatoes and the sausage. All right, my resting timer of 5 minutes has gone off, so the tomatoes are ready to come out. I've just tasted the sausage. It's perfect. It doesn't need anything else. You can see how the tomatoes float. You can fix that once they have cooled overnight. So do be sure to leave them for 24 hours before you start juggling them around. This is the tomato juice. It looks beautiful. I'll show you these tomorrow after I've had a chance to let them cool and then shake them up. You'll see. They will look beautiful on your shelves. But you can see how much liquid I have in here from the slicing tomatoes. So for all of my preservation purposes, I really prefer to use the paste tomatoes, but this is what I had. Lids are starting to pop. All right, just another tomato juice. Okay, those are done. Those will sit there until tomorrow about this time, give or take. I'll shake them up and then I'll show you what they look like. All right, let's get on to our sausage now. All right, so I have 8 jars out here. I had 6 pounds of sausage. Definitely won't get 8 jars, but I wanted to get them washed and ready anyway. And my jars they're only lukewarm by this point, but that's okay because I'm not adding any liquid to my sausage. If I were going to add hot liquid to the sausage, you would want the jars to be hot as well. Pack these pretty full, so I'm going to do an initial packing and then we'll come back in and push them down a bit. There's very little fat in here. I'm not intentionally including it, but I'm not intentionally excluding it either until I get to the bottom, and then I will. I'm going to go for 1-inch headspace, pack down a bit, not like super smashed. We still want some airflow in and around there. But if you can them just like this, they're going to shrink down and your headspace will be gigantic. So let's leave them looking pretty and get a full jar when they come out. So I also use this for like Thanksgiving, Christmas dressing, or stuffing, whatever you call it where you are. Love a sausage dressing. You could do sausage and gravy on biscuits. Like I said, I do spaghetti, lasagna, frittata. I really like it in a frittata or a quiche. one more, and then we're going to go and pack them all down and see what we need. So if you're going to go in with a metal spoon like this, just be careful that you don't chip your jar. All right, let's add a little bit more to each of these. Go for 1 inch headspace. Get my canner on while I'm thinking about it. It does not need to be overly preheated because, as I said, my jars are not. The sausage is warm in there, but we're not going to have any temperature issues without the liquid. Okay. All right, so that's going to heat up a little bit. I don't think I can get another full jar. Okay, those are good to go. Now, because of the grease, I'm going to make sure I clean those really well before I put the lids on. Oh, what did I do with my... I think I put my vinegar up again. I did. Okay. If you don't have your lids yet for this year's canning season, make sure you do that. I have a link, 4 jars lids, it'll give you 10% off. It's down below. I appreciate all of you who do that regularly. Okay, those are good. Let's get the lids on. Rings on. Okay, so you can see I do have some fat in there. I actually like that. When I pour it out of the jar, it's good to go. It's got its own fat, ready to go. But you can certainly drain it. Some people even rinse it off. I don't do that. I don't see any reason to do that. All right, I'm gonna get these in the canner. And I need a filler jar. So I'll take one of these filler jars. Take it with the water. All right, that'll keep anything in there from tipping over. I'll bring you over and show you what I've done. So I have 6 jars of the sausage and 1 filler jar that has some water in it. And that is just going to keep the other jars from tipping over while they're processing. Okay, so I'm gonna finish my last tray of eggs, get that into the freezer. I'll get those in the freeze dryer. I think they should be in the freezer for 24 hours, but we'll see how impatient I am. I may put them in there tonight before I go to bed. And then the sausage will be done. That's on for 75 minutes because I'm doing pints. I'll get that out tomorrow. No, tomorrow the eggs won't be done. So maybe the day after tomorrow, I'll come back and I'll show you all the finished products of everything because I do want to get those eggs finished off and sealed into a jar. All right, I'll see you back here as soon as everything's done. So let's run through real quickly what we got done in one day. The freeze drying, of course, took its own time, but I'm really calling this one day's worth of work. So I have 3 pints of tomato juice. I'm really excited about using this for gazpacho. David has his eye on Bloody Marys, but I think gazpacho may win, we'll see. And then hot Italian sausage. You'll notice, remember that we packed this all the way to about an inch headspace. I wasn't too restrictive on how much of the grease I put in there. I've got just a perfect amount of grease to throw this in a pan and crisp it up. I have 6 pints of hot Italian sausage. Crushed tomatoes, if you remember when these came out of the canner, they were floating. Basically all the tomatoes were floating on the top and there was liquid on the bottom. These have now sat for a couple of days and I have turned them up and down and you see they look perfect. And they'll look perfect on your shelf too. So if you're new to canning tomatoes and you get worried when you pull out that funny looking jar, don't worry about it. Just let it rest for its 24 hours and then you can turn it upside down and it'll stay like that for the rest of the time. Okay, and then I got a quart and a half pint of freeze-dried eggs. I'm very excited about trying these and about having that on my shelf. I think I'm probably going to end up opening this small one and testing some recipes with it, so we'll see how that goes. And then this one, I think this is such a beautiful jar. It's just gorgeous, the color of these tomatoes. Now remember, these were, well, one tray was slicing tomatoes, so I had all different colors. The other tray was paste tomatoes, so they were all red. But I just have this beautiful kind of orangey color in here. So I'm excited to use this to thicken soups and stews, add a bit of tomato flavor, kind of use it like paste, and then add a little bit of water to turn it into paste. So we'll see how that goes. I will keep you posted on that. So thank you so much for being here. I know that this was a different style video for me. I wasn't just giving you one recipe, but I hope that you enjoyed it because this is how my days go. And I don't show you these days because I feel like there's nothing new. However, most days there's nothing new. Most days it's just preserving what I know we like, trying a couple of new things that I have no experience with yet. So let me know if you enjoyed it. Click the like button. Tell YouTube that you want to see more about growing and preserving your food. And thank you so much for being here. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.